Oh. And good morning. Day 4 of week 12 of Urban Agoge. Let's see. So yeah. So I've just watched Harlequin's latest vid, and I'll tack it on to the end here. It was very cool. Yeah. I'm really hoping today is the day that my 3D printer arrives. Let's just extend this. Whoa. So you can see where we're going. Right, yeah. So as I was walking out here, I was musing like you do when your brain isn't controlled by what you can't do. It's just idly ticking over. And I realised that if we can include this whole holistic approach, we're kind of like an extension of Sean Kennedy's and Rant Media's patrolling, where Sean and Sim went out and would learn things and show you stuff. So yeah, it's interesting the way this is unfolding. So it looks like the virus is spreading, so we may well be up to 4 people who are at least on the edges of doing this. I mean, Harlequin and I are essentially having a midlife crisis. Let's get that out there. Yeah. Trying to keep all the cables straight. Oh. It's not easy. Oh, glad there's a long microphone lead for the purple panda. Oh. So let's do it. Let's go over the bridge. I'm going to pull the boom pole down. It was getting too unwieldy. I think if you've got a reason to have it extended, then yes. It's just a handle extension to make it into a fairly expensive selfie stick. So yes, excellent. Yeah, I truly believe 3D printing is going to be one of those technologies. However, I'm also reasonably sure that it's one of those layers of effort that will, until it becomes so simple, I think it will become highly commercialized. I think people don't want to get their hands messy, people don't want to load filament, they don't want to go through all the steps that are necessary to churn out a 3D print. They certainly don't want to wait. This is the thing. So those things that make the sort of people that watch this, tick, with the idea of, sorry, eyeballing the wildlife. It was just a snail. So yeah, those people that are curious and can put in effort in order to satisfy that curiosity, yeah, they're going to grok the concept of 3D printing. And if you don't know what the word grok means, you might have heard people say it, and it means to understand and fully get it. And it's amazingly from yet another Heinlein book, Stranger in a Strange Land, which is a masterpiece. Not Stranger in a Strange Land. Yes, it is. Stranger in a Strange Land. It's very hard for me to list all my favourite Heinlein books, but I think you could definitely go with Starship Troopers, The Moon is a Harsh Mistress. What would I read next? Stranger in a Strange Land. It's a good one. Variable Star, Tunnel in the Sky, and Citizen of the Galaxy. And I know for a fact, as audiobooks, they're all on YouTube. So go and find the latest YouTube downloader and go and swipe those definitely. You know, that's a good week's worth of listening. You could listen to nothing but Heinlein for a week if you got those 5 books. But yeah, Tunnel in the Sky is all about how societies form in the absence of rules, and Stranger in a Strange Land is how religions form eventually. So yeah, but yeah, there's always going to be people that can put in a little bit more effort. Always going to be people with a little bit of vision. Always going to be people that are going to see the value in learning how to use a particular tool. And that just ain't the majority. You know, even though 3D printing's, it's got to be around 10 years old now. It's only just because there isn't this huge interest, because it's still niche, because it takes a while, requires patience, curiosity, and intelligence to use the machines. That's what's holding it back. People want to be able to press a button and then 5 minutes later you hear a ding and your chosen thing just drops out of the sky. You know, the thing is even when you get your chosen thing, it's all one colour, pretty much, generally speaking. The one I've bought is a dual extruder, and if I can ever learn to get that to function, I'll be able to not only do dual extrusion, I reckon I'll probably also be able to print in the flexible 3D filament, and then the world is your shellfish. I believe you have it surrounded, Mr. Morton. So yeah. But yeah, I mean, the things that will prevent other people don't want to learn stuff. I was talking about this to my daughter, in fact. When people get to a point in their lives where they go, nope, that's enough new information, or at least enough new information about anything that I don't already have a working knowledge of. You know. But that sort of, you know, shutdown of input is even affects geeky people that I know. Like, I have learned enough. No more information will fall into my cranium. And I'm just like, it's too much stuff to learn. And I've got a limit, you know. I'm more of a generalist. I think that's why, and I think we all are. I don't think we'll all want to become savage level 3D nerds, 3D printing nerds, and know every setting. But we are quite happy to sit there for a day or so, printing out cubes and getting to understand what the settings on the extrusion levels mean, and maybe investing 5 or 6 hours into printing something and seeing if it's right and seeing if we can't improve the quality somehow. Change the scene. There we go. But yeah, it's pretty cool. I think that it's got to that point where, you know, GNU Linux, Ubuntu was released, and finally you've got all the little bits of technology. All the engineers have worked extremely hard to make it happen, and finally, you know, we're in the stage of, if not, you know, release level technology where it will become ubiquitous. I think we're at least at a good beta for us to muck about with. You know, if we can get this technology working, you know, if you're the sort of person that watches this, you got, you know, you kind of have the what's the most dangerous sort of person I can be gene, the shaman gene. You know, if you're exhibiting the shaman gene and you like learning how to do stuff and you think, oh, that's interesting, that's a thing I can do for myself. And now we're finally at this stage where we're in the sort of place where we can just go, We need a game. We need a learning simulator to teach people like us how to do things. You know, you're seriously telling me that you know, there isn't going to be some sort of cool post-apocalyptic or bushcraft survival board game so you can like visualize it, you know, like a psychological simulator. Now that we've got control, you know, a few years ago things like printers became really, really good. About 10 years ago. Now you've got printers and laminators. Laminators are dirt cheap. Printers are dirt cheap because nobody really needs to print stuff anymore. So you can get a dual-sided laser printer, like an ex-office one, that you'll never probably have to put any more toner in, as long as it's got some toner in, and just chunk off all the paper information that you want to. Then laminators, because they're a thing that some people use in offices and nobody really needs to use them anymore, because we don't need to read stuff because we've got Facebook to remind us of things. They're dirt cheap. So if you've got your playing surface, you can knock that up yourself, and your rule book. And now 3D printing, still a bit expensive, but it's not expensive because the technology is expensive. Oh, that's bright. It's expensive, you know, relatively. I mean, my 3D printer will cost more than my last laptop, you know, but that's 140 quid. That's nothing. I used to be able to spend that in a night out. I can literally drink £140 worth of alcohol in an evening. But so for an evening's, in inverted commas, entertainment, instead we got a situation where, or instead of a weekend trip or a festival ticket, you're looking at a situation where you've got a 3D printer. It's like, what wouldn't you print? You know? So yeah, it's very interesting. Very interesting. And now we're getting to the point where I would say we were with Linux. You know, 3D printing used to be the domain of very, very smart people and at universities and people who could club together in the same way that radio hams would club together to buy a good radio. It's like, yeah, we got that. And now 3D printing is, it's in the hands of the rangers. It's in the hands of the urban agoge types. It's in the hands of the Church of Server. You know, it's in the hands of those people that used to watch Rant Media. You know, that's, along with a smartphone, that's some sci-fi technology right there. And now it's at the kind of prices where us ordinary bods can get our hands on them. We can buy one each. We can buy multiple 3D printers. You know, we could theoretically start our own business. I mean, how many game stores do we have? Could we make a game of the concept of the urban agoge, or the concept of being curious, and more together? You know, could we make games that teach people stuff? Because that's what they're for. Look at drafts, chess. You know, general wargaming. You're telling me we can't figure out how to make a really good war game or a really good role-playing game? We can't make a two-tiered survival war game, strategy game, meshed in with a role-playing game? because I bet we can. You know, the things that make money are the things that distract people. But yeah, but we exist in the shadows. We're just here thinking our weird thoughts, doing our weird stuff, going and being weird in the woods, or going and thinking about weird shit, or being overly obsessed with all sorts of crazy stuff. And I just have this feeling that there is a combination of technologies that have finally, over my lifetime, come together. Computers, communications, and manufacturing. And I think it's all coming together. Because I think we've got the electronics manufacturing. That's in a, you know, we've got that from on a personal level. I'm talking about Arduinos. I'm talking about Raspberry Pis, where electronics manufacturing is more a factor of taking something that has multi-use and plugging the bits that it doesn't currently have into it. So, you know, super small computers like the Pi Zero and the Raspberry Pi, things like the Jetson, the Orange Pi, the QB Truck, all that. All those things, and you know, things like Arduino micros, those E233 circuits that are just like tiny Arduinos on a Wi-Fi stick, essentially. Yeah, all that is super interesting. All that has a, you know, a real level of potential for the sorts of people that maybe can't build their own processor on a printed circuit board, maybe don't know everything about 3D printing there is to know, maybe don't know about programming, you know, to the nth degree, but can do it if that's what it takes to bring their product to bear. You know, and they know, annoyingly, that their product is only going to be interesting to a small group of people. And possibly even that product may never be for sale, just available for download with a buy this ubiquitous piece of tech, then buy this one, then plug that into there and download this program that I wrote. You know, if you're not interested in selling it, then you've probably got the advantage in that it doesn't have to be perfect. You can solve that problem and you can let other people come up with refinements. But, you know, and there are going to be other technologies. You know, for the same sort of money as I'm buying this printer, you can buy a drone. But with the 3D printer, you can probably build all the drone parts, or at least the frame. Get yourself a generic radio, buy yourself some motors. We've got Arduino flight control boards. We've got cameras. You know, what would our drones look like? You know, it really is a case of not having to. Oh, I'm winded this morning. Haven't had any water yet. That's probably what it is. Yeah, it's not down to having, albeit, you know, where I'm more what you might consider a second wave sort of a person. It's like, by all means, invent it. You know, get it to a level where I can buy it cheaply enough that I can experiment with it and not be too panicked about breaking it. And then let me think of a really subversive use for that piece of kit. But yeah, I mean, the great thing about a 3D printer is if you're not fussed too much for time, you don't, apart from buying filament, you really don't have to keep anything in stock if you wanted to sell stuff online. And it's removing the gatekeepers in a way. There's like a lot of people that are into 3D printer are into 3D printing for its own sake. You know, and that's great because they mature the technology really fast. They form startups, they sell these things. Well, it's very much like computers. You know, there was a time when you had to be pretty wealthy to have a computer. In my lifetime. You know, when I was a kid, just didn't see them. We didn't see a computer anywhere. Maybe at school. Maybe you heard about them. But you certainly didn't get your paws on them. And then, not that he was a great businessman or anything, but he was a visionary. Clive Sinclair comes along and pushes the price of computer ownership to below £100. And £100 was still a lot of money then. And years later, my wages for a whole week's worth of work didn't come to £100. But yeah, it was exhausting. So yeah, and 3D printers, my brain keeps saying they belong in a laboratory or a film studio or a design studio where computers used to belong, and now they've escaped. And just as people like us have picked up on computers, we need to pick this technology up rapid. We need to get that. That's AK-47 level technology right there. So that's enough of me rambling on. I'll go and get some breakfast and wait for this damn printer. So after this there'll be a Harlequin segment. Hope you enjoy. Thanks for watching and do take care.
That was interval training, day 3, week 11. That last one was deadly. That was up and down hills the whole way. Oh, now bush. That is way harder than just running steadily. I suppose that's the idea of it, really, isn't it? Just catch my breath. But yeah, good, but bloody hard work. Go dog, go, go, good girl. Finally got it used to being where she's supposed to be when it comes to running. Today's beanie and t-shirt weather here in sunny Yakandanda. The sun is out after some disgusting sleety rain and freezing coldness yesterday. Today it's lovely. It's like, I don't know, 7-8 degrees, but the sun's out and it's gorgeous. Falling down the hill. Gotta walk along the hill. I'm gonna sit along for a bit because now I'm tired and I still have to go to work for the second time today. Got up and done the cleaning. I got up, had breakfast, did the cleaning, finished that off, went home, got changed, and then came and did this mad lark. Still good, does hard work, but hard good work, not hard as in suffering, hard as in that was an effort. Wasn't an effort well spent. I do feel as if I could eat breakfast again. I do feel as if I shouldn't have had that glass of water before I came for a run. Even though it was good. I want to say it was 25 minutes ago now. I like interval training, even though it sucks. Yeah, I was rereading 531. Come here! Don't chase the currawongs. I was chasing the currawongs. They're pied currawongs. Imagine a magpie in the UK on steroids, about the size of a raven. But in a group. I love being in a group. Pepper, leave the currawongs alone. I don't want to be your friends. I was rereading 531 strength training. Can't think of the guy who wrote it. I'll grab the names. I can see a picture of his face too. Anyway, you'll find out listen on a wet log. Get a wet bum. It was sunny enough today to have a shirt on. I've got a t-shirt on. A pair of shorts. And I'm hot. Take me off. Don't go anywhere. Yeah, and it was talking about it was talking about from a strength training perspective how important the actual aerobic effort was, and I can't remember the name of the author. I'm very sorry. He was suggesting that like using a prowler was a really good aerobic exercise because they're just absolutely brutal, those things, you know. They really do work you out. Same with like running, like hill sprinting up and down hills for interval training. It's just like it's bloody killer, you know. There's always a bit more of a hill you can throw yourself up to. But yeah, but that was good. It was an interesting read. You should go check it out. Yeah. No. Still waiting for parcels to arrive. I think I'm going to follow Zach into the world of 3D printings. I've been checking out 3D printers, and I think I found a good enough quality one that will not frustrate the hell out of me, because I just want it to work. I don't want any. I want to like do two screws up, plug the extruder head in, and it run and it print properly. And I think I found one for a reasonable amount of money that'll do that. And it's surprising now, just like the difference between when the. Why are you looking at my leg? The difference between just the level of like where they've got to now, even in terms of cheap Chinese manufacture, and then shipping, you know, when the shipping of a product that way it comes in a fair sized box is free because of the Chinese government's control of the Chinese postal service, and they just absorb the cost to mean that manufacturing can be driven up. You know, you drive manufacturing out of the country, do that. You know, run the shipping agency lines as a state-run concern and just do it. You know, that's a clever idea. Yeah. So here, that's interesting. Lots of good reviews about different machines, and you know they're getting to the point now. They get to the price point now where people will just go and buy one just to do the review on it, and companies like Banggood and GearBest and all those companies who have these big you know, Western geared sales platforms, you know, AliExpress, Banggood, GearBest, all those, they've basically worked out that if they sponsor someone or send someone a product and they review it, you know, 9 times out of 10 for the price point, the review is going to be positive. The person might say you need to have this level of experience to build it. That should be bloody obvious from the fact it's a kit. There are others that aren't a kit that are suitable for, you know, I'd let my daughter, who's 7, put it together and just say, mind the hot end, mind the hotbed. You know, come on, dog. I would have no trouble getting her to do up the screws, work out which bolts go where, just the dimension sizes, and probably have her printing, you know, after a couple of days of not too hard graft. So yeah, you know, and that gets you a piece of technology which 10 years ago was insurmountable. 5 years ago it was insurmountable to build one. Nearly, you know, the cludged together operation of making a 3D printer was difficult, to say the least. Yeah. I got my tax return. I'm very excited about that. I was talking to V last night on Discord, and we were both explaining our mutual revolutionary ideas of using our tax returns to fund the weaponising of our own minds, which is a weird idea. I don't think either one of our prospective governments has designed the tax system so that any refund you get, you put back into weaponising your own mind. I do think that's clever. Yeah, clever as an idea anyway. As are savings. Right then, what's got to tell you? Nothing much. Oh, that's the same stick I walked into yesterday, and I got it in exactly the same spot. I was walking around yesterday with a bloody bruise on my leg, and I remember walking into the stick. I was just walking into the same stick again in the same spot. We'll go this way. Yeah. So all good here. Running was good. Go for a run. If you're just starting out, go for a walk. There's lots of good audiobooks to listen to when you're going for your walks. They've all been listed in the various episodes. Go back and listen to a few of those. You know, if you're in a mind state to do so, just do what I do and download all of the episodes that V puts out, strip the audio out of them, put them on your phone, stick your earbuds in and go for a walk. That'll pass the time of you going for a walk. It's like having a friend to go for a walk with, without having him there. Yeah, so enjoy your day, have a good one, work hard at whatever you've got to do and go for a run. And I'll see you all, I'm sure, tomorrow for another rambly walk around in the forest. Ta-ra!